People who fall for emotionally unavailable partners often see the same opening: intense connection, fast bonding, then a quiet retreat. People who fall for emotionally unavailable partners aren't overreacting. The push-pull is usually the point. People who fall for emotionally unavailable partners get trapped in ambiguity because the partner alternates warmth with distance. A partner can become emotionally unavailable for a few common reasons. They learned early that needing people wasn't safe. They're avoidantly attached and protect themselves through distance. They carry unresolved relationship trauma, or they're emotionally immature and lack skills for vulnerability and repair. Sometimes it's also a values issue, wanting the benefits of closeness without the responsibilities of commitment. Whatever the origin, the behavior looks similar. They engage when it's easy and withdraw when intimacy requires consistency, accountability, or emotional depth. They deflect hard conversations, disappear after conflict, and label your needs as too much. The result is a dynamic where you do the emotional work while they keep control by staying just out of reach. Emotional unavailability isn't just someone who struggles to talk about feelings. It's a consistent pattern where closeness is offered selectively and withdrawn when it asks for responsibility. In practice, it shows up as inconsistency and avoidance. They may be attentive when things are light, exciting, or on their terms. Then go vague when you ask for clarity. They postpone defining the relationship, avoid future planning, and keep commitment language slippery. When conflict appears, they don't repair, they retreat. Instead of discussing what happened, they shut down, disappear, or switch the topic until time resets things. A key sign is how they manage your needs. Reasonable requests, reliability, reassurance, basic communication are reframed as pressure, drama, or neediness. This moves the focus away from their behavior and onto your reaction, which can make you doubt yourself. Another sign is emotional minimalism. They share selectively, but resist mutual vulnerability. They may disclose personal stories early, but avoid sustained emotional presence later. Over time, the relationship becomes structurally unequal. You adapt, clarify, and repair. They opt in and out. That imbalance is the defining feature, not one bad week or a rough patch. A common reason people stay attached to emotionally unavailable partners is familiarity. Not familiarity in the sense of, this is good, but familiarity in the sense of, my body recognizes this. If earlier relationships, family, caregivers, past partners, taught you that love comes with uncertainty, you may have learned to associate closeness with effort, earning attention, monitoring mood, waiting for warmth to return. In adulthood, a steady partner can feel unfamiliar, while an inconsistent partner can feel oddly compelling. The nervous system often prefers the known pattern over the healthy one, especially when the known pattern is tied to early attachment. This is also why the chase can feel like purpose. When connection is unpredictable, your attention narrows. You analyze texts, replay conversations, and search for the right way to be so closeness stays. That focus can create the illusion of depth. It feels intense because it consumes mental space, not necessarily because it's stable or mutual. Meanwhile, the emotionally unavailable partner benefits from the structure. Your adaptability becomes the relationship's glue, and their inconsistency becomes normal. Over time, your standards can quietly shift from, is this good for me, to, can I finally get it to work? Recognizing familiarity is not self-blame. It's a map. It shows where your system learned that love must be earned. One of the most common dynamics behind emotional unavailability is the anxious avoidant pairing. It's not a moral label. It's a pattern of self-protection. The anxious side tends to respond to uncertainty by moving closer. When contact drops or tone shifts, the nervous system treats it as a threat. That can create hypervigilance, overthinking, checking signals, seeking reassurance, replaying what was said, and trying harder to be good enough to secure connection. The goal is safety through closeness. The avoidant side tends to respond to closeness by moving away. Intimacy can feel like pressure, obligation, or loss of control. So when the relationship becomes emotionally real, definitions, expectations, conflict, needs, they protect themselves through distance, minimizing feelings, delaying commitment, going quiet after tension, or framing the partner's needs as excessive. The goal is safety through autonomy. Together, these strategies reinforce each other. The more anxious pursuit increases, the more avoidant withdrawal tends to happen. And the more withdrawal happens, the more anxious pursuit increases. Both people end up confirming their core fear. The anxious partner feels unchosen. The avoidant partner feels trapped. Importantly, the avoidant partner's unavailability isn't neutral. Their refusal to repair, clarify, or show up consistently forces the relationship into chronic uncertainty. That uncertainty becomes the engine of the bond and the source of its instability. Inconsistent affection can be more bonding than consistent affection because it trains attention through unpredictability. In psychology, this is often discussed as intermittent reinforcement. Rewards that arrive randomly tend to create persistent pursuit. In relationships, the reward isn't money or points. It's emotional contact. A warm message after a cold week, a tender night after distance, a sudden apology after silence. Because these moments are rare, they feel disproportionately valuable. Your brain starts scanning for the conditions that produce them. What did I do differently? What can I do to get that version of them back? This is why emotionally unavailable partners can feel uniquely irreplaceable. You're not just attached to who they are, you're attached to the contrast between absence and presence. Relief becomes confused with love. The emotional spike after reunion becomes confused with chemistry. The unavailable partner often maintains this system, consciously or not, by giving just enough to prevent closure. They may reappear right when you pull away, say the right thing when you're ready to leave, or offer intimacy in short bursts that reset your hope. If you raise concerns, they may offer a partial fix instead of consistent change, which keeps the cycle alive. Over time, the relationship can start to resemble withdrawal management. You don't feel calm, you feel temporarily stabilized, and because the reward is unpredictable, it's hard to stop waiting for it. Another factor that keeps people attached is the rescue fantasy. The belief that if you love correctly, patiently, gently, perfectly, this person will finally become emotionally present. It can feel noble, but it usually turns into a hidden bargain. The bargain is this: I will tolerate less now because I believe I'll earn more later. Emotionally unavailable partners often encourage this without promising it outright. They hint at potential. I'm just scared. I've never felt this before. I'm trying. And that language can keep you invested in the future version of them rather than the current reality. You start relating to what they could be, not what they repeatedly do. As the bargain deepens, your needs tend to shrink. You ask for less clarity to avoid pushing. You accept inconsistency to stay understanding. You take responsibility for their comfort, while your discomfort becomes something you manage privately. The relationship becomes organized around their limits. This is where emotional unavailability becomes actively damaging. It doesn't just withhold closeness, it makes you negotiate against your own standards. Over time, you can confuse self-abandonment with loyalty. The real question isn't whether they have a good heart. It's whether they can consistently show up in ways that protect trust without you having to earn it. Breaking this pattern isn't only about choosing better, it's also about retraining what your system recognizes as attraction. If you've been conditioned by inconsistency, secure love can feel strangely flat at first, not because it's empty, but because it doesn't trigger the same adrenaline cycle. There's no guessing game, no sudden withdrawals to solve, no dramatic reunions that create a rush of relief. The nervous system can interpret that calm as boredom, even when it's actually safety. This is where many people relapse into emotionally unavailable partners. The chaos feels like chemistry, and peace feels like a lack of spark, but that's often a misread. Calm isn't a warning sign. Sometimes it's what connection feels like without threat. Practically, the break pattern is built on proof over hope. Early in dating, focus on repeated behaviors, not potential. Do they follow through? Do they handle conflict without disappearing? Do they make room for your needs without punishing you for having them? Boundaries become diagnostic tools, not ultimatums, just clear standards. For example, I'm looking for consistency. I don't do ambiguity. If we have an issue, I need repair, not silence. Emotionally available people respond with clarity and effort. Emotionally unavailable people often respond with deflection, guilt, or withdrawal. Finally, practice tolerating consistency. Let boring be a new data point. Sometimes boring is your brain not being hijacked. Sometimes boring is what it feels like to be with someone who isn't managing closeness like a negotiation. People who fall for emotionally unavailable partners aren't broken. They're often trained by familiarity, pulled in by inconsistency, and kept there by hope. The shift happens when you stop treating mixed signals as a challenge and start treating them as information. Real intimacy isn't earned, it's reciprocated.